Oh, hi guys. Oh, that's what you look like? Okay. Welcome to another episode of the 1970 TR6 restoration in the Rusty Beauty's garage. We're making some progress on it. We started assembling already. We assembled some stuff under the dash and run the wiring harness, made some bushings for the throttle shaft and stuff like that. And today we're gonna continue with the assembling. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking. So we're not gonna talk a lot about what has been done in the previous episode. If you haven't seen it, you can go and see it. I'm just gonna say that we installed lots under the dash and we made a mistake with the tube underneath here, the tube for the windshield wiper fluid that comes from there, goes here, and I put it into this little hole here, but that was a mistake. It needs to go into this one, and it leads to the scuttle right there, and then it goes into these two branches that go to the left and the right wheel box. The other hole, this one, is for this little linkage here. I'll pull it out now for you. So it is a little bent, and that's how it goes, and goes to the front and goes into this little hole here on this lever, and that controls your flap for the early cars. The later cars have a plastic grill, but I like this better. You can close it and forget about water going inside. When it's open, water goes inside, goes through the scuttle and drains through these tubes inside here between the fender and the inner fender, which is stupid. Note that this water that goes into this channel here doesn't go there through this hole, still goes down there, but at least the water that goes there, we can limit the amount. So I don't know why they went with the plastic, maybe because they cut some corners, but I personally like this much better. Anyway, so we're gonna correct that, we're gonna run that hose where it needs to go, and then we're gonna pull out the steering column, because today I'm expecting John to come with some parts, and he's gonna bring the pad, the dash pad that goes on the top, and we're gonna install that, and then we can start installing the metal dash and other stuff here, but the steering column needs to come out. It needs to come out anyway because I think it needs to be cleaned and painted, and we're missing some of the bracketry that holds it there. One is right there, and there's another one here on the dash that I'm missing, and unfortunately John couldn't find them in his parts too, so I have the feeling that they were left in the paint shop. I might be wrong, they might have left in my previous job where this restoration started. You never know, but anyway, we're gonna figure out something today. Another thing that I think I'm gonna do, because we don't have also the lever for the throttle that comes right here, so we might make one. Shouldn't be that hard, right? So anyways, that's the plan. Let's see if we're gonna stick to it or we're gonna change it. Okay, that mistake is corrected. So that's how it goes. This is the lever that attaches here under the dash to a little lever. So it's a linkage that attaches to a lever. And this is how it is attached here, you see, into this little hole. We just need to find some kind of a speed nut for the other side, but now we can open it and close it from inside. Okay, and now let's remove the steering column. But before we remove it, I wanted to show you something here. So, because we're gonna have to make this bracket that goes on top, but there's actually a base for this bracket, because this sheet metal underneath is not solid, and you see it's already bent, and it needs to be solid. So that's why there's a thick plate underneath that goes under the column, and there's the U-shaped one that goes on top. However, that thick one can't go on top of the sheet metal because it's gonna raise the steering column way too much, and it's gonna be off center with the hole on the bulkhead, you see? Can't believe they scratched it there. We should paint that. So that thick plate goes under, goes right here, and then the U-shaped one goes on top. But that we're gonna do when we're assembling it anyways. I just wanted to show it to you now that I remember that. So let's take the column out and try to make that bracket. Well, it looks like we painted it before, but it's been molested. At least here, this front end that sticks out in the engine bay, we're gonna have to paint again. Anyway, just want to highlight here that you have to be careful with the bearings inside. So there's two bearings. They are like Teflon or urethane bearings that are stuck inside the tube, and the shaft just slides through them. Sometimes they get worn and you have a lot of play here, which here we don't have. There's another one here. So these seem to be good. They have little nipples that come when you press them in. The nipples show up through here and here. So I can see the nipples are still in place, which means the bushings are in place. Also here we have this cap that goes at the end. And then we have, this is important, this is like Teflon or something, this washer. This is also a bearing which rides right here at the end of this bracket. So when you put this bracket in place, you need to compress it towards this washer, and that allows the shaft to spin inside the tube without much play as well in this direction. So I'm gonna use this tube to try and make that bracket and the plate that goes underneath, and then we're gonna paint this end and it's gonna be ready to be installed back. All right, did I say that we're gonna start changing the plan now? Yep. John stopped by and he brought a whole bunch of parts. We went quickly through them. Unfortunately, the parts that I'm looking for are not here. John already went through this, but there's some other useful parts that are gonna help our assembling. He brought some more old lights here. He has new lights, but I'm gonna keep these for now because we might need some parts of them. The rear buckets, for example. There's lots of parts for more than one car here. More mirrors, seat belts, windshield wipers. The ashtray we might need soon, so we're gonna clean it and paint it. Another dash that came from another car. And somewhere actually there's another box with more gauges, but I think we're gonna use these ones. Even though they're for a later car, the 70 should use black ones, I believe, but these gauges are in a better shape, so probably we're gonna use these ones. He has another box with his original gauges for the car. I don't know where I put it. Oh, in that box. He has more gauges. And most importantly, he brought the dash pad. So that's gonna unblock my assembling process here, because now we can install this dash pad and continue with assembling the metal dash and stuff, because I didn't show you that, but I painted this. This is the bracket that we're missing the other half. If you happen to have that top part for here, let me know. We might buy it from you. Anyway, so that's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start assembling again. So first of all, let's install this dash pad. To install it, I'm just gonna mark a line here first inside, because these, if I remember correctly, this is a little bit longer than what we need. So we might need to trim it a little bit so it doesn't stick out of this side. Okay, so it's kind of glued. The problem is that this is too smooth, and you see the glue doesn't hold to it. It just removes itself, and that's always a problem with surfaces that are really smooth. But it's not that important, because I know some people don't even glue that down, because when you install the windshield frame, it even pinches it on this side, and here the dash pinches it. Here it kind of glued itself, not great, but anyway, I had to make these holes for the studs. There were some stampings on the thing for the holes, but they don't match, so I had to make my own holes for the studs. Anyways, it's in place, but I remember with the 1973 TR6, when I was doing it, I had the same problem. This is this cut out piece inside is a little bit too narrow, so yeah, I'm gonna pull these out. Come on, now one-handed, watch me scratching the paint. Yeah, I'm gonna remove it, and now with the X-Acto knife I'm gonna cut it a little bit to match the opening on the sheet metal, and that's it. Okay, it's trimmed a little bit better. This one I even installed the metal part, and now it looks much better. So I didn't install this one because I wanted to show you that it has two studs at the end that go into these holes, and on these studs on the other side is where we mount the vents, the plastic vents. So we're gonna mount those next. And about this end here, looks like we don't need to trim it because the black line is just under here. So looks like the whole thing is gonna be hidden under the windshield frames. So they either shortened it now, or I'm wrong in my memories that I had to trim it on previous restoration. And these are the vents. So this is where the studs go, and then you put washers and nuts underneath. But I wanted to show you that actually only this part is open here. This part is fake. Anyway, and the other important thing is you need to know about these hoses. Only these are a little bit narrower than the other ones. I don't know the exact diameter, but the rest of the hoses are a little bit wider diameter. Only these two, this one and on the other side of course, are with this size, the narrower size. And also they don't use hose clamps here because they're actually threaded, but the thread is reverse thread, so righty loosey, lefty tighty. And you see, that's how they install. You just turn them, just for your information. Okay, so these are installed, and I even hooked them up here to the blower motor already. And now I think we are ready to install the dash. This came off again. So I have my hardware installed here loosely, because the dash doesn't have holes, it has slots, so you can just put it in and slide it. See, that's what I'm talking about. And I also have this bracket mounted because it's easier to mount it now, and everything else is gonna come later. So I mounted it with these bolts loosely on the side, both sides, and these now I'm gonna start tightening. But as I'm tightening it, I'm gonna take a pair of pliers and I'm gonna grab this vinyl and I'm gonna pull it in to make sure that it is nice and tight here, because you see it's a little bit loose outside. So I'm just gonna make sure that it's pulled and pinched nice and tight. All right, so it's all tight and still not great. I mean, here, look, this can't look better than that. I'm hoping that the wooden dash is gonna hide it a little bit, but these reproduction parts are not great. So anyway, from this angle you can't really see it, but I don't know. Anyway, it's installed now, nice and solid. And now it is a good time to install this lever here into this linkage, or the linkage into the lever, because believe me, later it's really tricky. So install it now and you can thank me later. So I can't find the hardware for here. So what I did was I took a bolt and I drilled it, and now it can go inside here. The wire is gonna go through, and then I'm gonna put a nut on the other side and I'm gonna tighten it, and it's gonna work great like this. And now except it just came out of the hole on the other side, so that we're gonna have to figure out how to hold it there. All right, so the dash is installed, and I was gonna go and install the antenna like I said before, because I thought that it was gonna be hard to install it later, but it turns out that it is smartly made. Well, this grommet is not great. Anyway, we're not gonna install it now because it looks like you can loosen the nut on top. Let me show you, I tried already. I can't do it one-handed. Anyways, you loosen the nut on top, everything comes out, and you install it from above. This can turn parallel to the antenna. You put it through the hole, then you turn this perpendicular to the antenna, and then you tighten the nut. So we can do it after. We don't need to do it now, so we're gonna do it towards the end of the restoration. So we're gonna put the antenna away, and yeah, I think I'm gonna start making now those brackets that I said I was gonna make earlier. Maybe we should make the throttle lever first. I think it's easy enough to make it, so let me show you what my idea is. So I found somebody's picture. I don't know whose that is. Oh, that's Bluefire. So that's Ed Hollin. Anyway, so this is what the shaft looks like. And looks like Ed also made bushings like me. Anyways, this is what the lever looks like. And I already went to my shed and I took the template from my own TR6. So we have a template, we have a piece of thick steel here. So let's make our own lever. Okay, so this was meant for a bigger boat, this size, which is a half-inch head, but unfortunately I drilled the hole a little bit too close there, so I have to use a smaller boat. There's no too much pressure there, but anyway, I think that's gonna work. We can use a wrench here and tighten it underneath. So let's see if it is gonna fit, and then we can paint it. Okay, I can pull this shaft out now. Oh, we put the other bushing now. Okay, well, the moment of truth. Yeah, tight, but it fits. Okay, I'm not gonna push it because we're not gonna be able to take it out after. So first I wanna paint this, position it where it's gonna go, and then we're gonna assemble it. All right, so I also made these two. These are for the steering column at the end, but they're pretty simple to make, so I made them pretty quick. And I also took apart the steering column switches here, headlights and the signal switches. Stripped a little bit the steering column again so I can paint it. It's all painted now and it's ready to be assembled, but we can't start even this paint is still not dry. So you know what, it is Saturday night. I spent like an hour or hour and a half in the garage already, and I think it's enough for today. I'm gonna go and take a break and tomorrow maybe. I think tomorrow I'm gonna be able to work again, even though it's a weekend. So we're gonna come back and we're gonna finish with these brackets. I mean, we're gonna install the accelerator lever, and we're gonna install the steering column, and we're gonna mount it at least with the rear bracket. The front one, or the one that's close to the dash, we're gonna have to find from somewhere. So anyways, I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but I'm gonna end it here because it's Saturday and I wanna post something on Sunday. So I'm gonna end it here just so you can see that I keep making progress on this car. And next week we're gonna have a more detailed video about the next processes that we're gonna do, because there's lots to be done on this car. So anyways, thanks for watching guys, thanks for commenting and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.